Transtrom, VP of Finance for HelpSide. This coming July will be 27 years. Been a long time. Just to lead the accounting and finance operations of HelpSide. So it's everything from treasury management, getting people paid, protecting bank accounts from fraud, taxes, payroll taxes, filing, of course paying bills for the companies. We can make sure the lights stay on. It's all part of it, and developing our strategies for profitability, what we charge customers, and where that all fits into the mix of things. I've always kind of been in the trenches kind of a guy, so I like getting into the problems. My role's changing a little bit in this past year with the retirement of our old CFO, and I'm getting more and more involved in the strategic aspects of the finance function of our team and our company. And there's a lot of exciting things in there that are new to me, but great to be learning and being able to further my understanding and expertise in them. Get to work with some great people that come from some pretty deep financial backgrounds, and it's a lot of learning right now, and learning is important for me. For sure, that's a big part of it for me. That's always been a key element in my preparations for life, my career. Whether it was the formal schooling and degrees in college or whatever, and just the day-to-day learning of running a PEO and how to make it successful. I have a bachelor's degree in business management and accounting and an MBA with an emphasis in accounting, just from an educational standpoint, and then just the time I've worked here. Obviously, work and employment is an important part of life. Raising a family, taking care of the family, it's a big reason for doing the job. I guess maybe the next question would be, why here? Here at HelpSide, it's been very much a family feel from day one. My introduction to the company was actually working for a client company and having some association with the owners of the former A+ Benefits, the previous name of the company, and just having an opportunity where things came together to come here. And it's been a great adventure since. I work with phenomenal people here. That definitely is a big part of what keeps me coming back and engaged is, again, that family feel, and just being able to have that opportunity to experience the celebrations and work through the most difficult times with people that I trust. And the impact we can have on small businesses to be successful in what they do is awesome as well. In that time I've been here, we have a lot of clients that have been with us even before I came on and have been steadfast and loyal to us all these years. So we're doing something right, and it's good to see that have the impact on our client companies to be successful. So my team is made up of a lot of people who have been here for a while as well. Most of us have come kind of through other little departments or teams and worked our way to the accounting team that we have right now. It's a pretty wide range of diverse people and backgrounds and experiences. They all work hard. I have all the trust in the world in their ability to do their jobs with the best effort that they can give, and to do it correctly and well. There's a lot of compliance in our industry and our company that my team is directly related to that is super critical for us to maintain. Payment of taxes being one of those. Payment of garnishments is another one. There's some pretty important things there. So being able to have that trust and dependability in our team is super important, and it's there. Great people that many of them been here for multiple years. I don't think we have anybody in our team that's been here at HelpSide less than 3 or 4 years. So we've all got some good time putting together. We know each other well. We've tried to focus on learning how to support and help one another. I think it's built a good culture in our team. Of unity, of support, of help, of friendship, and that makes for a good day. I mentioned too already, payroll taxes is significant. We have tens of millions of dollars of payroll taxes that are withheld and contributed by employers every single day, every single week. And being able to take care of those and to make sure that we have them filed and paid timely and correctly is a huge peace of mind, not only to us, but that's a significant weight that we can take off of our clients from having to worry about doing. Another important aspect, I mentioned garnishments. A lot of support goes out to help family members, with child supports and whatnot. So processing those timely and accurately is a big part too of being able to help our Worksite employees meet obligations, but in many ways receive the benefit of having those garnishments withheld and paid on time. Those are probably the most direct facing ways that our team impacts our clients and their employees, is payment to the employees, payment of taxes, and garnishments. I think just our ability to really focus on detail and the complexity of the things that we do and avoiding errors. Again, there's an awful lot of dollars involved in so much of what we do. Being able to keep that straight and accurate and correct is a big part of our being able to deliver those things and knowing that there aren't errors related to them. It helps us to be able to function more streamlined, more efficiently, and certainly staying out of the fray with audits and reviews and trying to fix problems and correct problems is a big part of what allows us to be nimble and capable of continuing to do the good job that we do. It's been 2 or 3 years ago, we put a big emphasis on documenting our business processes so that we have clarity for those that have primary responsibilities. But because we do a lot of backing up with each other, we've tried to make sure that everybody is familiar with those business processes. So having these standard operating procedures it took us almost 2.5 years to really document everything that we do so that we can have a good process to follow no matter who's doing it. I think is a big part of delivering that quality output that is frankly just what's demanded and needed at all times from our team. So. I'd love to see us be able to continue to leverage technology, especially in trying to help verify where our exposures are to credit risk with clients. We've developed a pretty good process to help us underwrite clients, to help identify red flags for concern there. But I think in today's world, there's more that we need to learn and implement to help secure that even more. I would love to see us be able to leverage technology for a lot of the payments that we process for taxes. Right now, there's a few of those things that are kind of time demanding, and I'm hoping that somewhere either we'll find a way or become aware of a technology solution we didn't know about before that would help us be able to do that even more efficiently and accurately. So. We'll go to the NAPIO industry to try to look for information that's there. It's an organization that we're a part of. We do recognize that there's a lot of work done at the NAPIO level to not only lobby for our industry, but to help put together best practices and resources that can be used for that. So that's a location that we'd go. And then just leveraging our vendor relationships. If it's a banking question, it's working with our bank to understand what payment options are there. Perhaps it's the software vendor that we use for our payroll tax administration, going to them to ask them, okay, what's available, what's something that maybe we're not using in your software suite to implement in our space, and just trying to seek out input and expertise from those that are involved in those industries, just to help make sure that we're not always just happy with where we are, but looking to make sure we understand the new opportunities that are entering into our space. I'd say, at least annually, our team is making an effort to develop goals and focus areas for us to improve the things that we're doing. That usually reveals some innovation that we can make to a process, or opens up some doors that we can go look at for tools and resources that we weren't using before. So I think, every year we are definitely changing and updating something in what we're doing to be better at it. AI is something I'm not all that familiar with. We as an organization have definitely tried to raise the awareness of it, the importance of it, and at the same time to make sure that we are correctly and safely utilizing it. The little bit that I'm occasionally using AI to help me answer a question about how to deal with a particular tax situation, whatever, I get more comfortable with it. So I'm excited at the opportunities that AI presents for us to expand our knowledge and understanding. But I definitely recognize I got a lot of room to make up to be good at that. I feel like we're pretty darn good at what we do. There are definitely bigger players that probably have advantages in technology and some of the resources available. But I think at the end of the row, we're as good as it gets to what impacts our clients. Being able to deliver it on a bigger scale are the things that we're seeking to learn and develop, right? We want to grow. And that means we've got to be able to maintain that good quality output and touch to even more clients and employees. And that gets tough sometimes to figure out, but those growing pains are ones we're going through right now, and we'll figure them out. The stress from them is hard sometimes, but the growing pains mean change. And I believe in our vision, I believe in our leadership, I believe in the direction we want to go. that this change will eventually, even though painful right now, will result in better opportunities and realizing those goals of growth. Well, our goal is to get to 40,000 Worksite employees. It's not quite double of where we are right now, and it's both mind-blowing and terrifying and exciting to think about that. The opportunities on how to grow and get there bring their own host of challenges and difficulties, but like we've always done in the past when we've hit major challenges, we double down and we study hard and we learn what we need to do to make it work right. So I think, again, we're in a good direction. I think we have good clarity of what it is we want to do, who we want to become, and I know that we have a lot of commitment to figure out the challenges along the way to get there. Yeah, integrations with acquisitions is a current and difficult challenge, something we've never dealt with before. We weren't involved in any acquisitions for up until this past year. There's a lot involved in bringing systems together, especially accounting and finance systems, to bring business processes and systems together. It's a significant challenge. We've closed one acquisition and are looking to close another here shortly. So there's really not a lot of rest for the weary, but comfort that we can take is what are we learning from the current one we're working through that's going to help us better navigate the obstacles of the next one. And there will be new challenges the next one. It's a different company, different scale, different systems. There's going to be some new things there, but we are becoming familiar now with how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable and start figuring out the problems when they come up and being better prepared for those when they do. I definitely see the focus on it. A big part of that is the opportunities that are there. Along with the integrations and the challenges of that, I think we're learning a few things too of what maybe defines a good opportunity. So hopefully there's some things there that we can use in that acquisition evaluation process to hopefully find opportunities that maybe have a little bit cleaner just cleaner situations with those targets that hopefully we can find that will make the acquisition process, the integration process easier, more simple. The problems, we're having to lean into outside help, which is great because that's what we are. We're an outsourced solutions provider. And I think that's been one of the fun things to recognize here is, we're leaning out to some expertise, to get expertise outside of our own to help us through some of the technical accounting and whatnot. And it's awesome to be able to find businesses that bring in expertise and to start to develop relationships with them to help us work through these challenges. My goal is to make sure that we're learning what we can to eventually do as much of that within our own team as we can, but it's nice to know that we can find help outside and be comfortable with that. Again, that's what we do. And I think it's been good to be able to say, look, we're kind of practicing what we preach a little bit and being able to go outside of our company and seek the guidance and help of subject matter experts that bring some things that we don't have on our team right now. I don't know if there's one light bulb moment as much as it is just multiple experiences that I can think of. In my role, a big focus that I've been able to do is working directly with some of the owners or key decision makers of our clients when they've hit some difficulties in their space. Primarily difficulties related to cash flow and being able to fund a payroll. Obviously we're not a bank. It's tough for us to be able to provide a payroll to a client, to pay all of its associated taxes and benefits and not get paid from a customer. However, we do strive to do everything we can to help our clients when they run into that situation. So, I've spent a lot of time on the phone and via email with owners of companies that are just desperate to figure out how to make sure their team gets paid. Sometimes that might be one or two payrolls. We've had other clients that's taken several months to work through some of those challenges. And I think the light bulbs are frequent of, okay, here's a situation that we're going to do our best to figure out how to help this client keep their stuff going, keep their ship afloat. We can't always do exactly what they need or what they're looking for, but we're trying to find what we can do and typically are able to find a solution to help them. So there's just been multiple touch points or situations, if you will, where seeing that happen and helping businesses work through their deepest, darkest challenges is just it's a constant reminder to me of the importance of having a PEO that's a partner, a friend, someone who truly are an organization that truly can bring solutions and help to get through the challenges that they face. It's been a few years back, and this is a company that's not with us anymore. But if I remember right, we had them as a client for probably between 3 and 4 years. Somewhat of a technology company called Fresh Lime was the name of the company. They were newer and in a growth mode, and as is typical for just about any small business that's growing, it's easy to get outside of your resources as far as income, right? You're scaling your employees, you're hiring more people, you're developing technology, your payroll is growing like crazy, but having the revenues from your customers catch up is another issue. And it is very similar to the situation with Fresh Lime. They were growing exponentially. The size of their payroll invoices to us was increasing significantly, and they just didn't have the cash flow to keep up with it. So again, because we're not a great bank, that's not what we're built to be. We're very focused on making sure that we minimize our exposure to bad debt risk. So it gets tough sometimes to be able to find ways to help clients fund payrolls, but not make us exposed too much for loss. But we put our heads together and figured out some ways that we could help the client rearrange some of the timing of their payroll, particular groups of employees on their payroll, and to fund a certain percentage of the payroll, when it was due, and with a commitment to pay the rest, within just a few days, so that we could make sure that we were constantly having the cash flow needed to cover things on our side too. This was originally done to maybe help with what was expected to be, 2 or 3 payrolls, but we ended up following this process with this client for probably close to an 8 or 9 month period. So it ended up taking a longer time for them to kind of work through their turbulent waters, and needing our help to do that. And fortunately, we were able to do that and not have anything go south. So it took both of our commitments to follow a plan that we agreed to and that we collaborated on to find a solution that would work the best as it could for both of us. And that's something that we're always trying to do. One of our values is stakeholder effect, and that is our company, our workers, our owners. But stakeholder effect also impacts our clients. And so sometimes there's a little bit of a tug of war in taking care of a client, but also taking care of yourself. But that's always a balance that we have to find in the things that we do. And I think we're pretty good at it. Key to that is just seeking to understand. I hate to take a Stephen Covey thing, not that I don't like that or him, but to seek to understand. Talk with the client, get to know their situation. What are the details? What are the challenges? How often are they happening? And then coming back and seeking out input from our leadership team. How do we feel we can roll with this? What can we do? What kind of commitment can we make? And then we go back to the client. We figure it out. I think it's a significant one. I'm not too familiar with all of the PEOs, but we have enough, I think, of clients that have come to us from other PEOs or left us and went to another PEO and came back, that they highlight the touch, the way we take care of them as being the reason why they're back with us or looking to leave the one that they went to. So there's definitely some evidence of that it makes a difference, and I think in a lot of ways unique. Perhaps a bigger PEO, it's easier to just make more policies that are more broad and more general because there's just too much to try to zero down in on one client. But at the same time, trying to zero down on one client maybe can present a lot of extra work. But we try to figure out that way to help deliver the solution that a client needs, and may not be necessary for other customers, but for the ones that need it most, it's a way to help them work through the things they're facing. I think where we connect well with small business owners is a mindset of just giving a phenomenal effort to figure out problems. I think small businesses that are still hungry and trying to figure out how to grow, that's just a mindset that you have to take. And it's one that we have here at HelpSide. So I think that dovetails really well with that mentality, that when we can demonstrate and show that we have the same commitment of figuring out the problem, work the problem, to find a solution that's gonna click and make a difference for us, I think is a big connection to the small business owner. I think the other thing too is just a commitment to succeeding. In my role, like I mentioned earlier, occasionally I'll get an opportunity to interact with an owner. I don't get to be in front of clients very often, but on those times when I do, it's usually because something's happening on their side that's not good. and they are reaching out to us to say, here's where we are, what are our options, what can we do? And I really think that just that mindset of working the problem is an immediate connection to the small business owner, it's relevant. It immediately, I think, builds a tie between us to see that that's something that we also value and that we are committed to, and we're committed to doing it to help you, not just what's going to help us, but trying to figure out what's going to help you. So an old adage I learned years ago, I couldn't even tell you when or where I was, but I remember it. It was just simply that in an impersonal world, people appreciate a personal touch. And that's something that I've always tried to remember and implement, that it doesn't matter who's on the phone or on the other end of an email, people are important. And having that focus for me has always been critical in how I try to do the things that I do, to just remember that, whatever I finish or do, it kind of has my autograph on it, my signature on it. And I want people to know that they were treated well. I want people to remember not so much the way I did something, but just more the how I did it is critical to me. So again, to me, just remembering people are what's important, and no matter what the situation is, no matter what the challenge is, I get to know the person that I'm working with, that I'm talking with on the phone, or that I'm emailing, and getting to know what's going on for them. What are the challenges that they're facing? What are their goals, or what are the things they're trying to accomplish and working through them? And then figuring out how I can help get to that. So two ends of the spectrum there. The blue collar, manual labor, work hard to build a home in the middle of frozen winter, to a tech company that's just getting off the ground and trying to bring a technology solution that's exciting and needed in the world today. There's different needs on those ends of the spectrum, and so we've got to be able to really learn what those are, and I think carry that to understanding not only the common denominators, but what's most needed in the markets we're trying to serve. For us, I think our focus has always been to make sure that we can take care of any business and whatever they do, and not just become experts in one particular industry. I think that diversification of clients that we have is one thing that's important to our health and long-term longevity as a business. But just seeking to understand the needs of both ends of the spectrum. Where does that fit in meeting the demand from the market? Being good at it, good enough to make sure that our clients feel that what they're paying is for value and a benefit that helps their company and their employees. So I think the focus on technology or blue collar or restaurants or whatever the case may be, it's just making sure that we understand what those needs are. Not just define them as they are today, but know that 6 months from now that could be different. A year from now that could be different. So let's make sure that we're plugged in to our customers, to the industries and the markets, to understand what those needs are, and making sure our solutions are bringing those to as many of the players in the market as we can. We have definitely in the past tried to focus on certain industries for profitability reasons, but we've never said we're going to stop working with clients or with prospective companies that do X and only work with prospective clients that do Y. Although at times, we feel that there's opportunities to really dig more into an industry for profitability reasons. And so we'll put together a focused campaign or effort to at least get into that. But we don't ever just walk away and leave anything else. I'm a firm believer in diversification, whether that be your personal investment decisions that you make or what we as a business are trying to cater to in terms of the industry and the market. I think having customers across multiple different industries and markets makes for a healthier, more dependable long-term future than just one industry that might be awesome for a year or two but then disappear. So I think the onus is on us to never be complacent with one thing, and just making sure that we're aware of where those emerging opportunities are at, evaluating the solutions that we have, the services we provide, and being able to adjust and morph those as is needed to make sure that we can stay relevant to those emerging companies. I looked at our values here at HelpSide. I'm a firm believer in the role of values as being anchor points. They're nails. They're what hold our building together, our framework, right? You don't pull those out and change them for other ones. You find the ones that are important to keep your structure together, and that is what you live by. One of those for HelpSide is integrity. And I think that's one that's super important for any business owner, whether they're starting, from scratch, or they've been going at it for a few years, or they've been successful for 20. I think integrity is the first thing that matters. It's the North Star. And as long as you can have that thing that you will not sacrifice or bend on, that is honest and has truth in it, no matter what speed you're going at, as long as you're always headed that way, you'll get where it is you want to be. Whatever that goal is, whether it's growth, whether it's certain profitability, whether it's the number of employees that you have working for you, I think integrity is the North Star that matters most. Along with that, I think humility is important. The ability to recognize that everything isn't known. We need to learn. And with that, humility to know that we need to learn and grow is just a commitment to finding answers to the questions that you have. So I think integrity, humility, and commitment are the three nuggets that I think. And I think we call the commitment in our values, we call it the will to succeed. To me, they're pretty synonymous with each other, and that's just being phenomenal at your commitment to reaching and achieving what you want to do. So those are my three nuggets. I thought a long time about this one. A lot of different thoughts went through my brain, but the one that stood out to me was that putting on the brakes because things can't keep up with the goals and the vision is something that an owner should never have to make a decision to do. So how does that relate to HelpSide? Well, if we have an owner of a company that's decided to put his or her trust in us to help their company become what they are striving to make it, we've got to be able to do our things, our services, provide our solutions in a way that makes them or allows them to not have to pump the brakes. One of the things that stands out to me in entrepreneurs is I've come to know them, and I admire a lot of the qualities and characteristics of entrepreneurs. I lack in a lot of those, and I admire those that have them, but they are hungry and they are committed and they are working hard to get to where they want to be. And they should just never have to worry about putting on the brakes because things aren't keeping up. That includes the things we do for them. So I know that's a big driver in the things we're trying to develop, the technology, the solutions, is what not only allows us to scale, but what helps our clients to do it. And if we can do that without them having to stop, put on the brakes, pump the brakes, that's all the more I think we can impress upon them as to the value we bring and keep them as a longtime client. Well, so I would define success in terms of us, and with our growth focus and strategies right now, I would say within the 5 to 6 year range, we're able to realize 50 to 60% growth in the number of clients that we're servicing, the number of Worksite employees that we take care of for them. That would be how I would recognize success a few years from now. If we can get to that point and say, we're here, and then define the new horizon we want to work toward. So it's been 4 or 5 years that our main software provider, Prism HR, don't know if we want to let that go out or not, they were a victim of a cyber attack, and it completely froze their systems for almost an entire week. When you think about the number of clients and Worksite employees we have and how that translates to payroll and paychecks over a week's time, we're talking tens of thousands of payments, right? That was an extremely difficult time that, in spite of what I feel was a phenomenal effort on our part to develop solutions to get employees paid, a lot of that was done with estimations based upon prior payrolls because we didn't have a system to calculate a payroll with today's information. It resulted in some people not getting paid on time, some people not getting paid the right amount, and we knew it wasn't going to be perfect, but our goal was to get as many people paid as we could, the amount that we could best come up with. And what that left was a lot of clients who, in spite of this being outside of our control, having strong feelings of it was our problem, therefore we need to be responsible for it, and wanting to be refunded fees that they were charged for the payrolls that we did run and the checks that we did issue. So for us, a decision was made to honor those requests by those clients, realizing the predicament and the difficulty that they were in. And we refunded those fees, knowing that we weren't going to be able to collect all those back. Unfortunately for our software provider, there wasn't a complete commitment to reimbursing us for the problem. So we made a decision to give up our profitability to help make sure our clients felt heard and understood in the difficulty and challenge that they face going through that. So to me, that's integrity. I think it would have been easy for us to just say, not our problem, our system didn't get hacked. But we made the decision that impacted us financially to make sure our clients felt that they weren't as impacted as much as they didn't want to be, if that makes sense. That's a hard one to measure. I think the only way to really know what a customer thinks is the way that they express it. Some clients express gratitude for that, and that's always a good thing to hear and see. Other clients you didn't hear from, so you're not real sure about how it impacted them or not. I would assume it meant something to them. In some cases, we're talking several $1,000s worth of fees that were refunded to a single company. So, it was a material amount for some of those customers, but for those that expressed appreciation and gratitude for it, it definitely helps with that. But we made the decision that we did, not knowing how anybody was going to feel about it or how it might impact them. We just did it because we felt it was the right thing to do. So for me, in my life, as I've worked through different challenges or situations, it's always helpful for me to be able to go to somebody who's near me. And that might be a family member, it might be a good friend, somebody that I can be with and interact with, but also is familiar with the situation that I'm in. That allows them to be able to offer perspectives and ideas and thoughts that maybe I'm not seeing, but are relevant to what I'm experiencing and going through. And so I just look at my own life and how that principle has been a value for me. And I've been lucky and blessed to have close friends and mentors and family members to help. And I think a similar approach in what we're doing is, leading to the same benefit to businesses. That's one of the things that kind of stood out to me as I thought through these questions a little bit. I kept thinking of people and businesses, and quite honestly, I think we've got to recognize that our clients are not only businesses, they're made up of people who have families and people that they're trying to take care of, whether it's themselves or, again, family members. And this kind of person-to-person, people-to-people, business-to-business thing is it's kind of cool how that all kind of works that way. And I think our being local, our being here in this Intermountain region allows us to see and understand and be familiar with not only economic but social issues that are around, how that impacts hiring and finding good workers and people. Are all things that we believe can help us to bring perspective and ideas to our clients to help them. And I think being able to say, hey, we're here, we know, we feel, we've worked through, we are working through similar things, and here's how we think we can help you get through it for you. That's a fun question to think about. Making sure we are answering phones and doing it quickly is a metric we track. But I would define service excellence as being able to understand well the need, the problem of our client and their employees. So answering the phone is step one. Asking the right questions, listening, hearing is all part of being able to deliver, to me, excellent service. And that's something that we definitely strive to do and pride ourselves on doing and have done for a long time, is to understand well. And then let's put together the solution that can meet the needs of our client. So I don't know if this is the biggest risk, but it's one that I remember. I had been working at the company for about a year when the year 2000 rolled around. And the year 2000, brought a lot of concerns, the whole Y2K thing and, technology in general. But a significant change was happening in our organization that dealt with compensation for our sales team. Our owners at the time, through evaluation and an effort on their part to kind of just see where the company was going, so it's about 10 years old at that point in time, the realization was that the company wasn't growing. We were doing a good job maintaining our customers, but we weren't growing. So some decisions were made that impacted how our sales staff were compensated in an effort to drive sales. The goal was to grow, not just stay who we were. And that change brought, some difficult situations to play. A lot of our sales team didn't like the change, and many of them left. And so it brought a real challenge to take the goal of growing with a sales team that was shrinking and replacing it with seasoned and capable people who shared that vision of growth and felt that the compensation plan was good. Our core values that helped us at that time were one, a will to succeed. It was painful. It was difficult. It presented a lot of significant organizational challenges, a lot of relationship challenges, and even presented some things happening out there in the market with competitive companies that started to come into play. And so it was painful, but we were committed. We had the integrity of what we wanted to do, how it was going to be done. We're able to hire and bring on some phenomenal people, of which a couple are still working with us today. Sales agents that started in the middle of that difficult time. And that's just a testament to their commitment, right? That they've been around this long in a system that was enough to cause some people to leave their job, thinking that it wasn't appropriate or right for them. But we had again the will to succeed, to work through the challenges, the humility to understand that okay, we've got to learn and change some things here. The way we've been doing it for 10 years has worked pretty good to get us where we are, but it's not helping us move forward in the direction we want to go. So that's one example that came to my mind as I thought through this. Again, it was early on in my employment at the company, so it was something that I was very much aware of and kind of was trying to figure out for myself, all right, how's this going to impact the company and whatnot. But fortunately, we were able to work through it all right. Not just all right, we worked through it well. And what we see today is a company that, because of that change back then, has done a lot of things differently to help us be able to grow. I've used this phrase a little bit so far, work the problem. Work the problem is a motto of mine. It comes from some books that I read about our armed forces in the wars and fighting in Afghanistan. So these are individuals whose missions were far more significant, dangerous, stakes way higher than anything I've ever had to be in. But as I've read and studied about them, one thing that stood out to me was the mentality of a lot of these special forces of work the problem. They find themselves in less than ideal spaces and situations all the time that are life-threatening. And so they're always having to work through that. Well, that's a mentality, a mindset that I've tried to adopt. And I think it's one that we're pretty good at helping our team develop here at HelpSide. And that's just everybody is involved in delivering the value proposition that we as a PEO have to offer. We've got to be able to understand and work the problem. With that mindset, there isn't anything that we can't figure out. And as long as we're doing that, we can help our customers to disengage from the things that aren't helping them be successful in what they do and achieve our goal. And that's to be the top outsourced solutions provider in the PEO industry in our area. And that's something that's always out there for us to shoot for. But I do think that mindset of we are all involved in working the problem to empower others to feel, hey, this is my chance to pull it apart, understand its pieces. How do we put them all back together to be in a better place than where we started? And my hope is that all of our team members feel that they have that opportunity as we collaborate to ultimately make a decision that's going to deliver that value to our client. I think as I've had the opportunity to interview and hire a lot of people over the years here, one of the things we've always focused on in evaluating an individual for filling a job is that does this person develop or do they demonstrate a value of wanting to learn? Is learning an important principle for them? Because if learning is important to them, they will go through whatever situation is needed to be able to do their job. For me, I mentioned earlier, learning is a key element to me and what I try to thrive in. That keeps me going. It keeps me on a pathway that North Star that I want to achieve or help me get there in a better way. So I think for us, as we've hired over the years to bring people into our teams, I'm a believer that the best way to teach somebody is through example. It's important to me to be able to demonstrate and do and live according to the things that I'm telling people or asking people to do. And I think that that's something that we see throughout the whole leadership here at HelpSide. And I think all of us are involved in making sure that we're exemplifying the things that we need our employees to be doing. So how does that translate to grit? Well, to me, grit is just knuckling down and working through the difficulty. Sometimes that's easier than other times, but at the end of the day, it's that commitment to be able to work through the things that are not comfortable and that are extremely difficult and sometimes feel like there's no solution. And I think that will to learn, that desire to learn is a key element of developing grit, the ability to work through the difficult. So when I think about regulation, that resonates with my mindset. I'm kind of a rules and find a way to be in the box kind of a thing. That's the way I see the world, and I've, for the most part, tried to live my life. But I think a key part of being able to help our clients be able to stay above or out of those two things is to just be exceptional at understanding the regulation, so that compliance is never a sacrifice. It's never a risk of something we're not going to do to be able to do something else. Because I think any time that a conscious decision is made to avoid compliance with regulation, you are just leaving a festering opportunity that sooner or later is going to come back to you. And so whether you take the time right now to work through the challenge and make sure that you're doing it the right way, or you do it later, it's going to come at some point in time. And typically later is going to be more expensive, more difficult, more complicated to resolve. So I think, again, just being exceptional at understanding the regulation today to make decisions and to put practices in place that help make sure that we are compliant to that regulation today is a great way to have not only the peace of mind, but the dependability that I'm going to be able to just focus on doing what I do without worrying about that thing that I've kind of left back there in the dark and just trying to ignore. As far as cost of benefits, the world we live in, that's something that gets driven by market practices. It's not something that you can control. But I do know that we are always evaluating options and opportunities that are out there that I think for a lot of small business owners, you don't know where to go find it. Maybe you find a brokerage that you can work with, and maybe they'll keep your best interest in mind. I know that we are trying to always have the best interest in mind of our clients. And so being a PEO, we have the ability to look and see what's out there, evaluate those things that will be meaningful, those things that are affordable and will deliver the benefit that our clients need. Being able to do that on a large scale or large group buying power will bring benefits that small businesses aren't able to realize on their own. So again, that just helps to bring a more affordable option to the market, to our customers, that might not be easy to go find on your own, or be more expensive to find as a small business rather than being part of a large group such as a PEO.